Welcome everybody to today's stream. Yeah, today we want to do something cool, something that is like way outside my comfort zone actually. Yeah, because we want to do some database stuff, right, with Prisma JS and with NestJS. So basically, I've done some backends, right, in the past, but really like, if I remember correctly, the last time I really worked with a database was back in university. So that's like 5 years ago or something that I really scratched the database, because most of the time I just work on frontend and some backend code. But the databases, like, they were usually there. Yeah, let's see. So what I want to do is basically I want to create, so the whole idea would be to create like a small application. Let's call it so let's take this auto draw and start over with a new tool. So the idea is that I want to create like a small application, a small builder where you can have like your dream Champions League 11. Basically, you put the best players together, right? So if anybody has seen yesterday Real Madrid in the Champions League, right? That was nice. So yeah, the idea is that you can basically have like players and whoa, no, I want to draw shapes. And you have like a football field, and then you can basically put like, those would be like the cards of the players, right? And then basically you can just customize or just put your best 11 together, right? So you will play like something like this, like 4, 3, 7, 8, something like this, right? So this would then be, it's not nicely drawn, but in the background we would do some sort of like football field, right? And then we would have here the middle line. Wow. Here would be the goalkeeper space. Yeah, you get the idea, right? So that you can put your 11. So we have to create this. We basically have to create like two tables, right? We have to create like players table, and we also have to create like my favorite team, which references the players. So that's kind of the idea. And I'm curious how we can implement this. So we will start in this stream. I don't know how far we get. Maybe we'll also focus on frontend, but probably first on backend. So on this stream, we will actually, let me also make some light here. Yeah. So on this stream, we will actually focus on the backend and the Prisma JS. So what we will do is we will generate a new project, which we call the MyD11, right? New, how do we call it? Mighty, we just call it MIE, DME. Let's just call it the backend, right? So we generate a new Nest application. We use npm, right? Installation in progress. So let's grab those npm modules. Okay, cool. So we successfully have a backend, right? Let's open up in a browser, in an IDE. The Mighty 11, right? Good, so we have our backend, right? And now what we want to do, we have some controller. So let's see that this runs. So if we would get hello, we can do npm run dev, right? Probably we should go into the project directory. Isn't there a... it's start dev. Or we can just start dev, doesn't matter. So start dev has the advantage that it recompiles, right? So yeah, starting the Nest application, I think we are started on port localhost. I think it's 3000. Hello world, right? I don't know if you can see it. Hello world. Good, so that's basically what we get here from this app service, right? So now what we want to do, let's go ahead and see if there's support for Prisma, right? Prisma is an open source, yeah. So we already generated the project, right? And now to set up Prisma, we have to say install Prisma minus as a dev dependency. Right, so we grab Prisma. Good. And then we do npx Prisma. Okay. Probably this is not... Probably we have to do init, I guess, because this just gives us the commands. Yeah, okay. npx Prisma init. So everything got generated for us. I guess we now have like a new Prisma folder, right? And the schema. So this will be our schema where we actually have to do most of the work. I think there is, yeah, install Prisma plugin because I want that. Yeah, and we get now nice syntax highlighting, right? Now set the database URL in the end file, right? So if your database has no tables yet, yeah. Okay, so let's see. So the first thing we have to do is setting the database URL, right? And now this is the, so we should also have like a N file. Yeah, so this is the database URL. Now let's see. So I have installed these things for Postgres. So let's add a new one and we called it the Mighty 11. Port we choose 5433, right? I guess let's just use something else here. Now let's try to initialize this. Now I also installed, I don't know if this is best practice, again, I'm not a backend dev, I haven't done so much with databases, but I think, no. I installed this tool called pgadmin something, pgadmin, right? Let's see. I also opening on the wrong screen. So it's this. Is there like a dark mode for this? So I have to... Oh my god. I hope there's a dark mode. Not for Windows, but generally preferences. Yeah, themes. Dark, right? Because this is... Oh, that's so much better. Good. So, we don't need this, right? Don't need this. Register, I guess it's register. Name. So I guess that's localhost, right? Password, let's also use Postgres, right? Safe. Okay, so we have something. Now, how is this supposed to be working? So I guess we now have to... So that's then probably the user, which is Postgres, right? And this would be my DB, so that's then the name of our DB, which is the Mighty 11. Right? Something like this. Now next, let's try to actually add some data using Prisma, right? Quickly. I quickly have to check something. Where are the docs? Okay, so the idea is basically that we kinda... Oh, I should probably bring the docs over. I will bring it over in a minute. So the idea is, like with Prisma, you create your schema, right? So inside the schema, we probably should start generating like the way we want to have specified our schema. So I think you go like model, and we need to have two things. So one is player, right? Let's go with that. So int, which is auto increment, so that's Prisma way of saying increment is ID. A name, we don't want to have to create that, right? But we want to have a club, which is also a string. We could basically make an enum out of this. I think there is a way of having like enum club. Wow, GitHub Copilot. But where is Real Madrid? What the fuck? Is this string based? No. Okay, Arsenal, Chelsea. Because we are Champions League, we have to remove United, right? Sorry, United fans. But yeah, that's the way it is. So, Arsenal is also not playing Champions League, right? So we go with Bayern. Blah. Barcelona, GitHub Copilot, we are talking about Champions League, come on. Why do you suggest Barcelona? Why? So, Not Barcelona, but like PSG. I hate to list PSG, but yeah. Juventus. Are they still in it? I don't think. Let's go with Napoli. Yeah, let's just go with those. So this can be of type club, right? And we don't have games, but we have a model, dream team. Let's call this dream team. And it has a list of players, right? And now we need to reference this. The relational fields, because the relationship is like one to many, right? A dream team can have like many players. So let's see how we can do that in Prisma. Whoa. Docs. Prisma schema, right? Yeah, so basically here we see that probably we have a list of players. The relational field players on model dream team is missing. Aha, Prisma format. Let's try. Let's see what Prisma format does. So he formatted our schema file. Ah, cool. And then he basically added this relationship, right? So this dream team ID is now here and it's a relation. So this dream team ID refers to the, yeah, it's on the player, to the ID here basically. And I think that's kinda it, right? I think that's kinda it. Now we want to generate those tables, right? And I think the way Prisma works is that you have to run then Prisma migrate or something. Let's see if the nest docs say something here. So we have the database URL, we have a model, right? Which looks more or less. Yeah. Now we have to run this. Prisma migrate. Yeah, so we have under migrations a init. So init is the name that we gave it. I think if we don't pass in a name, it will ask us for a name. So we have now migrations, right? Init migration log. Okay. So I'm curious if here something happened. Okay, we have a Prisma client actually that was generated under node modules. So we got a bunch of SQL statement generated here, create player, which makes sense. So I couldn't write this, right? Because my SQL skills are too low, but I can understand it. So now we have to install the Prisma client, right? But we are in a backend. So this is something we will use for initial generation. I would probably just do like a util, something like a new init. I don't know if it has to be TS or let's see. But first we anyway have to install the Prisma client. Okay, we have the Prisma client. Okay, note that during installation, Prisma automatically invokes the Prisma generate command for you. Oh, really? Don't see anything here. Okay, that would be in the NestJS service. But I think now what we want to do is just play around with like a util script and with the Prisma client directly, right? So let's see how we can do that. I think we can just import it and then just play around with it, create some data, right? Maybe something like this. So let's see. Inside our utils TS, what we will do is import we will import from Copilot UR, right? So we have our Prisma client, and we generate a new Prisma client, and we do a async function, right? Whoa, slow down. So we have our main function, right? Which is an async function. And inside here we will do Prisma user.createData. And now here we should actually get like some nice auto-completion, I think. Let's call the main, then maybe? Then maybe we can also add a Prisma disconnect. That sounds good, Copilot. What is the issue? Actually, we don't need. What is the problem here? Prettier. Yeah, and then can I just on reformat code action, please run prettier, yeah. So it's ESLint and prettier which are different, I think, right? I think it's that. And now if I run prettier, okay, so that's probably, is it spacing in prettier? Is it tab width? It's a bit annoying that this isn't like well done out of the box, right? Tab width, it's 2 default, right? Now it's better. Yeah, now it's chaotic again. Okay, I don't like this. ESLint delete. But then whenever I run prettier, right, it gets... I actually want to trust prettier here. Why isn't this like well done out of the box, right? Yeah. So, yeah, prettier. Okay, let's revert. Let's remove that plugin. That's a bit annoying. So this disconnect. Yeah, this returns a promise, so that's ignored. Okay. Anyway, so we have our main function, and we say prisma.player.create data, and now we get like any sort of auto completion here. So we have name and we have club. Okay, here we get club. So that's already pretty cool. Real Madrid, right? The player we want to add is, of course, Vinicius Junior. Anything else? So the dream team is actually optional, which makes sense. So that should be all, right? So let's check if we can run that. So let's just go here. And actually we don't need TypeScript. So this init can just be like a JS file, right? No, it is a TypeScript file. No, that's good. Yeah, it's good, sorry. So where are we? Now we want to go into Prisma util node. Now this again. Done. So seems like something happened. I don't know if so I would expect here to see like some tables, right? There's nothing. But now, let me uncomment this. And how can we now read data, right? Let's see what this does. So this gives us the player we just created. But why can't I see it here? I have no idea how to use this thing. But like... Okay, database, yeah, okay, good. But isn't there like, it's the public schema, right? And there should be now tables. Tables, create, refresh. So where is this coming from, right? Because if I guess if I go to my env and I change this to publico, whatever. And I rerun this. So this doesn't fail, right? This doesn't work because this doesn't exist. So somehow this table got generated, but I don't know where. There's a new, the mighty 11. I don't see that here. Okay, I have no idea how to use this thing, because it would be cool to also see it somewhere here. What if I close this? And if I open again this PG admin? Okay, I have it running locally. We have a database somewhere, not somewhere on the port, but I want to also be able to see. Also, now we see it. Schemas? Yeah, wow, there it is. So we have the players. And now what can we do here? I want to see the data. Players, how is this meant to be used? Columns, no. View all rows. Okay, so here we finally see it. So we have used Prisma to add this player, right? So we have Vinicius Junior in there. Let's go ahead and add a bunch of other players. So is there create many, right? So that's probably then an array of players. And inside here, probably it also has to be like data. Data, right? And this is then probably an array. Yeah. So one thing that would be cool is to have a image URL, right? Because we want to display some images for each player. So how do we do that? So the first thing we have to do, we have to update our schema, right? So we have to say, I don't want to go into storing like the image here. So let's just go with an image URL that makes it a bit easier, because that's not just a string. And now, of course, what we have to do is we would need to go and update our schema. I can't remember the command. It was something like migrate. And here we say the name is add image URL, right? So this Prisma client got generated. Cool. Now let's see if we can add another one. Probably not. Or let's just quickly see. If we run and we still want to get. Okay, we still get it. But do we already have to? Yeah. So let's add a new. Let's add Luka Modric. Let's add a image URL, right? Wrong tab. Oh. Let's just copy this. Copy image address, right? Let's just go with this. So it seems like it's not really updated. Restart TypeScript service. So I'm curious. So he says, yeah, right, but I want to actually run that upgrade, right? Prisma migrate dev. Create a second migration, right? So we added something, then we do a second migration. So in our case, that would be like something. You can now, yeah. And now how do I think it's just not really picked up. Let's try to run it. So it says it's not assignable without image URL is not a known property, right? So yeah, that should be like, because I did something stupid, right? I added it on the dream team, but it's actually on the player. So we have to add it on the player. And what we now have to do, we have to go and migrate dev, right? So let's see how the player column got affected, right? So the dream team column got the image URL, right? Step 1, added the required column image URL to the player table without the default value. There are 1 rows in this table. Yeah, so basically what he says is he cannot migrate because we already have, if we check the player, so we check all the rows, right? And we see that we already get like Vinicius Junior added. And he needs a default value. So the first thing that we need to do is basically delete Vinicius, right? So we can just do it here. We could also write a Prisma script. Let's maybe do that with Prisma. So let's go to our util or to the init. We could call it util. I think util would be the... Yeah, whatever. It's okay, because in the end we want to use it for initialization. So let's go ahead and just uncomment that, and then we say await Prisma player dot delete many. So this should clean up the database, right? Yo, what's up in the chat? Hi there. Whoa, that was a huge raid. Whoa. Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome raiders. So we are basically playing around with NestJS and Prisma. I've never done this before, so this is the first time doing this. So I'm actually an Angular developer, doing a lot of Angular stuff, but now I also want to do like some Prisma. Yeah, let's see how that goes. So the idea is that we create like a small, I'm also a big football fan. Football, I mean the European version, right? Because that's soccer, that's football. I don't know why the American football is called football, because it does have nothing to do with football actually. Yeah, so the idea is to generate or to build like a full stack application where we can basically have football players and then create our dream team and bring them to our dream team. So let's see, and we are starting with Prisma, with NestJS, and the front end will be Angular obviously. Let's see. So yeah, the issue here was that basically you cannot create it because we have something in the database, right? So what we need to do is we need to call our init.ts again. So this now should clean up the data, right? Okay, so we are clean again, and now we can probably alter our script. Wait a second, another Swiss tech streamer. Yeah, Matty 2 shoes. Like, how do you hear? Did you read in the bio that I'm Swiss, or did you hear it based on the accident? Real football, not hand access, the American, yeah. Oh, there is a lot. New followers, welcome everybody, welcome. Yeah, so basically now, next we want to generate a bunch of players, right? So we want to add Vinicius, right? Or Luka Modric, let's start with Luka Modric. Let's see if that works now. No, we cannot, because we first have to run the migration, right? So we call this migration, we call it player image. Good. Now we should be able to run this. Okay, let's see if we now query the data. They'd have called it handball, but that was taken. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Oh no, the accent is that giveaway. Yeah. Okay. So are you also Swiss? Matty 2 shoes. Yeah, so we have added Luka Modric, right? And now basically we want to add a bunch of players. So I think Prisma has... create many, right? It's probably also an object with a data property on it, right? Something like this. And then we have like... So we can go and delete this. That was too much. Oh, let me see. Okay, so we have already added Luka Modric. Now, yeah, it's a bit the boring part, but we have to add a bunch of players. Vinicius Junior, right? I'm mainly going with the Real Madrid players. I don't know if somebody of you has seen the Champions League match yesterday. How come now we would... yeah, for these image cards we will probably use... It would probably better to store like the image directly, right? But I don't want to overcomplicate this. So yeah, I need to go to... We need to have like 11 players. And I am only coming up with the Real Madrid players because I'm a huge Real Madrid fan. But we also have to add some other ones. So has anybody seen the game yesterday? Let's take this one. What? Okay, let's go with... Yeah, so let's also add our... So Copilot, this is wrong, but we should get like cool auto completion here, or at least type checking from the model, right? If we put here like Bayern whatever, then it wouldn't compile because we have specified our schema.prisma so that we have a enum with the available clubs. So let's go with our Swiss goalkeeper. I think he's cool. Okay, yeah, I have to bring that to 11 players, right? Okay, maybe I will then, between the streams, I will add some other players. Let's add a few more and then we will move on, because this is probably annoying to watch me adding players, right? So Kevin De Bruyne is Man City, right? Good, so we execute that and we add them to our database. So we should now have like a bunch of players in here. Yeah, so all the players got added, right? Now next, what we want to do is we want to create our NestJS endpoint, right? So what we still need to do, use Prisma in your NestJS service. Check out the API documentation, yeah. So we have to create a new file called prismaservice.ts, and we just do that inside our source directory. So yeah, so we have the Prisma service, nice. Also shout out to White P4 and 3R for the raid, right? I kind of missed the name who raided me. So thanks a lot for the raid. Yeah, so now we have the Prisma service. And okay, now we can basically create like our endpoint. So let's probably create a controller, a player's controller. So Nest has like pretty nice schematics for this. What we can do is, right, we can generate a player's controller. It's not NGC, it's NestJS Controller players. I think C should also work. Or not. Also, let me quickly rearrange the windows a bit, because I don't need to have the data here. Okay, then. Why? So I thought that this will generate a, yeah. Okay, it was not NestJS, it's probably NestGenerate, right? So we have created a players controller. So we have now players, and inside here we have a players controller. And yeah, we can now do like the get methods. But I thought that Nest is capable of generating this out of the box. Let's see. Because it has some nice schematics, and I thought it can create like a CRUD application or like CRUD controllers. Yeah, controller. Isn't there like techniques, schematics? I thought there is somewhere schematics. Let's see. Nest generate schematics, right? So there's controller. Okay. App library, decorator, gateway. Okay, I thought he can also generate like the endpoints out of the box. But yeah, anyway, so what we want to do is exactly this. So we want to probably use inside here, we want to have access. So let's first start with a get endpoint, right? Find all, and here we would return a players array. Probably we don't have to type it here, since this is not used anywhere, like this is going to the outside, right? Something like this, and then yeah, let's just start with that to see if it works. So we are on localhost 3000, right? / players. Okay, so here we would get the players, right? And now what we need is probably inside our constructor, we need to get a hold of the Prisma service, I would say. And yeah, so we get a hold of our freshly generated Prisma service. Prisma service, right? Whoa. What is Copilot doing here? Sometimes he's suggesting like weird stuff. But anyway. Okay, good. And then on this Prisma service, so we can use it, prisma.user. Okay, basically we can use this.prisma player.findMany. Let's see what that does. Okay, so he cannot resolve this because Prisma service, I guess is there also a provided in root? Is there something like this in NestJS? No, there isn't. Probably I have to provide it myself in the app module, I guess. So I guess it uses the providers, yeah. Probably similar to old Angular stuff, right? Right. Okay, okay. So this is basically the data from our database, right? So the first image URL is super long. But now we basically have that. So let's add a front end, right? So we still have to do then like more steps. But let's maybe quickly add a front end to display this data. So I will go with Angular because that's my favorite framework. I don't know if you guys, probably, I guess like most of the people in the chat prefer React. It's my guess. Let's go with the... No, sorry, I'm always typing like on the... I'm hitting the wrong key. Yeah, I want to use the Angular schematics to generate a new project which we call the Mighty 11 frontend, right? Angular routing, let's add it. Let's go with SAS. Sounds good. Matty Two Shoes, Swiss Canadian, I'm based in Zurich. Nice. What? So I guess you also stream then, right? So yeah. So we go to the frontend part. npm run start, right? So this will spin up our front end. So we should now have like a new, yeah, front end. Right? We have our front end, and now I'm curious if we want to make like, probably we will use Tailwind. I kind of like Tailwind. Let's see. There's a Tailwind. Basically we have to run those two commands, right? Yeah, we have now a Tailwind config file, and we have to add this right inside the Tailwind config. So yeah, Tailwind config, nice. And we probably have to import like a bunch of base styles. So ngsurf, yeah. And then let's just try this out if Tailwind is working inside our app component HTML. App component HTML, right? So we grab everything and we have that in here. Then we go again and can run start. Good, so this looks like Tailwind is up and running, everything is working, which is pretty nice. So now basically what we can do inside our frontend part, we can add a new core. I kind of like to add it in a core folder. So everything that is like eagerly loaded, I kind of put here inside the core folder. Let's say we have a header component.ts, right? So it's add component. Selector, we just call it app header. I don't know if you want to go with a prefix TME header. Let's go with that. What am I? Also, let me quickly check if the font size is big enough, because I think it's too small, right? So we have the TME header component. We put standalone flag to true because we want to use standalone components, right? What is the issue? Yeah, it doesn't have a template, right? So the template will be pretty easy. In the template, we will just do like a div. And here we will add a class. So we will say like a height of, I don't know, maybe 16. Then a BG blue, let's go with 800, a text white, something like this, and actually it will be enough. And inside here we will have like 2 links. So one will be like the dream team, right? And the other one will be the players. Probably will also do like a flex and a it's not align, it's item center, I think. Something like this. Then the A will have like a class, a margin on the right of, I don't know, 4. Something like this. And this one will also have like a padding of 5. And then of course we have to use this component. So we have to add it to the app module. Now I have 2 modules, right? Because one is the backend module. Since it's standalone, I can just add it to the imports array. Right. So let's see. Nothing happens, and the reason for that is because we don't use it. So we still use this one, and right, TME header. And now it looks like a proper header, We could also have like a bottom shadow probably, like on our header component. Is there like shadow? So there is shadow 2XL, but can I also make like only bottom shadow? New follower, welcome. Box shadow. Yeah. Yeah, that's just, I think it's okay if we just have like shadow minus LG, maybe. Yeah, we have some shadow. It's okay, I would say. Good. Anyway, now let's add a lazy loaded module, right? So we go ahead and we use the Angular schematics, ng-gm, and there it also already completes something. So we call it players. Right. So we created a lazy loaded feature module which is called players. So we have our players routing module, we have a players module, all good. And now of course inside our app component we still need to have a router outlet. So whenever we go to players, okay, we should have a router link on players. Router link players, right? And probably on hover, we still want to have like cursor pointer. router link is players, and we have inside our app routing module, we have the players route, right? So that should look good. Okay, so it didn't work because our app is down. Keyboard. Lol, tried, sorry. So my keyboard is like, therefore you see me also make like some typos, because I use basically the split keyboard from, wait, the Moonlander. Moonlander is the name, yeah. That's the name of the keyboard. So it's basically this keyboard, right? So you can also see it here. It's this one, so that's one part of the keyboard. And yeah, I'm using emulated Vim and this. Oh, I have the same, love it. Yeah, me too. Like initially it was so hard to get started because you spend like so much time configuring the keyboard, right? Because you have, for those who don't know, like when you get the Moonlander, you can configure it according to your needs. Like, so I have kind of optimized it for IDE work and also for working with Vim. So you can even get it without any keys, I think, like with not without any keys, but with keys, but the keys don't have like the alphabetic sign on it. I don't know if they have an example. Yeah, this one, for example. So you can fully customize it. So I use it on my own customizer, and this is basically my customization. So I guess nobody in the world could come and work on this keyboard, because like it's fully customized for my workflow. And the thing that I find hardest is like first getting started with the customization, but then also it uses like this linear layout, right? And the linear layout is basically initially like, it's so hard for me because on a MacBook you don't have this layout, like the C is not right under the D, and you cannot imagine how many issues that causes initially when you start to type. So you want to hit C and you hit like V or X or columnar layout crushed me for 3 weeks. I thought I had made a huge mistake. Yeah, I had the same thing. But I think once you master it, it's pretty cool, right? So, because I would not want to go back to any other keyboard than the Moonlander right now, to be honest. Whenever I go back to another keyboard, I feel like the ergonomics are so off, and like I feel like typing like this basically. Because in the Moonlander you have like the whole, yeah. I cannot go back for that work, yeah. I love keyboard like this, but the negative effect of trying to operate someone else's keyboard is so rough. Yes, yes. Also, it's already a bit rough if you go back to like working in a coffee shop, for example, go back to the old keyboard. Like for me, it still works well because I work often from coffee shops, but I guess if you work like for years straight on this one, you will have some trouble going back to the MacBook layout. Hold on a sec, do I plug a Moonlander to your laptop? Yeah, yeah. I think we're pretty much in the same space there. It's so weird for me to go back to a normal keyboard. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Also, last time I went to the office and I didn't have my keyboard there. And I had to work on a normal keyboard, and I really started to feel how my fingers start to hurt. And I couldn't imagine this before. When somebody told me like my fingers hurt from typing, I thought like, how can this be? But now that I'm used to this, I really yeah, I could really feel some pain. I don't use the native. Yeah, that's a good point. Like many people then anyway use like some native, some customizations. or even Vim with fully customized, nobody can work on their screen. So yeah. What I wanted to check is, yeah, players work. And the cool thing now is we get lazy loaded for free, right? So if we don't go to players initially, we load a bunch of JS in the beginning, right? And now if we clear that up, we load the players chunk. So this is everything that the players module contains. So it's fully lazy loaded. So that's pretty cool. Now let's query the data. I'm not yet sure if we should use Angular query or just a HTTP, normal HTTP. Maybe we start with normal HTTP client and then we can make our way forward to Angular query. Not yet sure. Yeah, let's maybe first go with Angular HTTP client, right? So we add a new players.service.ts, which is an injectable, and it's provided in root. So we have the HTTP client. And we have a function get players, which returns an observable of players. I still have to figure out a nice way. So that's what I like about TRPC, right? With TRPC, you kinda can directly share the same interface. I don't know what's the best way yet to share the interface, because I kind of think that I have to either generate some stuff from the backend, but they are in the same repo and it's both TypeScript, right? So probably there is a way. For now we would just do like interface player, let's just call it player, and the player has an ID, which is some, I think, what is it actually? The ID is, yeah, we should probably use a UUID here instead of just like a integer, but anyway, it has a name, it has an image URL, and the club. And the club comes over the wire as a string, right? Yeah, thank you, Copilot. So we get the players, right? If you want to use the HTTP client, we also have to provide it, or we have to import the HTTP client module, right? So that's basically it. Also the imports, I'm there like a bit, I put a big eye on the, or I put a close look on the imports, because I kind of like to have it structured in a way that I first have the third-party imports. Then next I would have like all the imports that come from my module or from my company's library. So if I had import, I don't know, something from my company lib, all right? I would do that here. And then I would have all the imports that are from another directory. So that would be something like this. And then all the imports from the same file. I kind of like to use this because it's much more readable for me than this already. Like this space makes a huge difference in terms of readability for me. So I kind of like that. Yeah, so we have our players component, right? So we have the player service. So inside the constructor, we take the players service. Player service, right? And what do we do here? We say we have a bunch of players. And that's actually this the player service that get players. And inside our component, we want to say players, async JSON pipe. That looks good. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Let's see. What? property players doesn't it should. Okay. So this player, why? You should import it, like, he shouldn't be happy with that. It's not exported, probably. Yeah, so we get null. But that means that we already are firing the request, like if we fetch, yeah, we see that we get a course error, right? So this is pretty normal. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail the work. So, yeah, no worries. I'm also working with Angular for work. We're upgrading from 1.x to 14. Okay, wow. Okay, we recently, or yeah, I think a couple of weeks ago, we recently had like a huge, not huge, but a party at my client's office because we just finished like the Angular migration from 1.x to 14. So we basically just finished what you are doing, and it took us years to go from 1.x to 14. So it was like a huge amount of work that we put in because we started to kind of mix in ng upgrade, right? So that we can run them simultaneously, Angular JS and the new one. And I think that's kind of a way to go for bigger applications, but I think for smaller applications, that's something that we did wrong. I think for smaller applications, it's much faster to just, if you can, so if your product allows it, I think it's much faster to just rewrite it from scratch and just like keep them parallel. So keep the old one, do a bunch of bug fixes, but do a feature freeze if you can, and then rewrite the whole thing on the side with the new Angular. That's kind of the way I would go for smaller things. But for bigger things, I kind of think you have to use ng upgrade probably. So yeah, good luck on that. But it's an interesting task. But yeah, it's also because Angular then also evolves, so you go to 14, then 15 comes out, and you should then always keep up to date. So there are a lot of challenges in going from 1x to 14. Yeah, so we have course issues, right? And course issues usually mean server. So that means main TS, but not the frontend main TS. Is there a way to easily search? So let's say I want to say main TS, and I just write backend. No, I cannot. Okay. Main.ts, so backend. And I think here we can say app.enable course, right? I think that's it. So we probably have to restart the server. So the server, sorry, I quickly have to respond here. Okay, so our server got restarted, and now let's see. So we get a bunch of players, right? Which is pretty nice. So next we want to display them here inside a list. So what we will use is players component, right? So we will use, of course, we want to have a div, which is basically the container. I'm not sure if we want to, maybe we want to make that like, probably here. So we want to have a div, and that's then this tailwind. I think it's container mxauto, I think that's the container name. Now it should be centralized, yeah. Okay, this probably goes out because the container, because it overflows the container, right? This property, this string. But yeah, and probably do a top margin of 10 so that it comes a bit down. And now inside here we want to display the cards, and I'm thinking to use CSS grid here. I mean, it sounds fun, right? So let's use div grid. I guess we will use probably 4 per page, at least on a big screen. And then we will create like some cards in here. And one of those cards would have like a, it's rounded. Then we do like a box shadow. We call it shadow 2XL, border -1. Let's go with a slate border, all right. And inside here we do an image, something like this. So we will anyway loop over this, right? So to loop we use ng4, let players of players async. Probably this is a problem because initially the async pipe emits null. So we just wrap this with a nice any. The image, we say it has a height of 12 maybe. So the source will be player.image URL, right? And then down here we will probably do like position doesn't exist, Copilot, but yeah. Player.name and player.club probably. So yeah, it doesn't look that great yet, but we will make it better. But yeah, we get our players, right? Probably our grid should have a gap of 5. Right, and then the image should be like maybe something like this. But then we can actually fit like more players, I think. Or we go with even bigger images. Yeah, maybe like this. Then we do like I think it's object covered probably. Yeah. Something like this. So it's a bit too high. So we still have to make it a bit higher. 96? Yeah, looks kind of okay. Okay-ish, I would say. Then this one is like padding of 5, right? Okay, so we have listed our players. Let me remove that. Good, so we have a bunch of players. So now if we add something to the backend, also the image should have like a top around the corner. That would be cool. So there, how can we do this in Tailwind? Like rounded top. Yeah. Good. So we have our players, and now we basically need a way to select them, right? So on the other screen, we will basically display a football pitch, right? And I don't know, based on the system, if you should be able to place every player on each position or not. So I'm just thinking how the UI should look like. Maybe we should also have like an additional field, which is a position in our backend, right? So I think we should have inside our schema, we should probably have a enum, which is position. Yeah, goalkeeper, forward. Just thinking how it, yeah, I think that makes sense to have those positions here. So we will go to our player, right? Position. And now the thing is, okay, we still have inside our init, okay, we still have the players, right? So that's important, because what we now want to do, let's go step by step. So we have the position, we added this position, right? And now what we need to say, hey Prisma, let's quickly also kill our server. All right, this is the server backend. Yeah, the server backend. This is the server. And we want to say npx Prisma migrate. And we want to say, yeah, so basically now he cannot migrate our database, right? Because he says that the required column position, so which is the column we just added, doesn't have a default value. And there are 5 rows in this table which do not meet that requirement, right? So what we need to do is basically either run this with create only to create a, yeah. So I guess what we can do, since we anyway have this init, right? We have this init, we can uncomment that. And then basically, oh, I have to check data, I think here, right? And now we delete the database, or we delete the data. So we say await Prisma player dot delete many, right? And now we delete them, then we alter the table, and then we update. All right. So we have init TS, so all the data is basically gone if we check the table. Right, the data is gone. And now what we can do, now we can alter the table. So we can say migrate def, and we say at position. Now our data table gets altered, so we should now see a position, right? Snazzy terminal, oh my posh and hyper. Yes, exactly. It's oh my posh, hyper, and a customized Angularic theme, right? So if you want to know about my setup, you can explore one of my latest blog posts on angularexperts.io, and there you see blog. And if you go down, you can see how to set up my terminal, right? Because this Angularic theme is also something that we created ourselves on Angular Experts. So we have created this Oh My Posh theme. It's a bit optimized for Angular developers. So the idea is that you see of course the Git branch that you are on, but you also see like the Angular version immediately that you are on. Then you also see the Node version, the npm version, this kind of information you get out of the box. And here's basically the setup. I'm using a Mac. It also works on Windows, right? But I cannot help you there because I'm not a Windows user. What I also use under the hood is fish, which stands for friendly user shell. And I kind of like that because it gives you like nice auto completion features. Yeah, so feel free to check that out here. I can paste that in the chat if you want. And to beat BSL into submission. Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we delete all of them, then probably we reinitialize our data, right? No, that's the migration, that's the util. So data is, of course we have to add a position. So this should already complain here, I think. I don't know if you need to restart TypeScript maybe. Yeah, so when you update like the Prism schema, the Prisma schema, you probably have to restart TypeScript because now he complains that the position is missing. What kind of positions did we add? Like goalkeeper, midfielder, forward. Let's just go with that. Probably I should add a comma here, right? Same for Benzema. That's goalkeeper. How do you know this? Really? I mean, look at GitHub Copilot. Let's see how many he can actually get right. I'm curious. So Kevin De Bruyne, what does he think? Really? Can you really get like all of them right? No. No. Okay. You know you are a big player when GitHub Copilot knows which position you play in, right? Then you know you made it. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, done. So we get like data, we get data. Okay, cool. We get data. Now, of course, we have to build that dream team builder, basically. So you need to be able to kind of say, okay, I want to have this in my dream team. Right? And then also I think, because what we want to do here, or let's maybe first start with the dream team. Let's see how far we can go. So we generate another lazy loaded module. That's what I also like about Angular and also about Nest. So for those who have never heard of Nest, basically the cool thing is that, let's first generate the route. The cool thing is that basically the same concept. So I'm not saying that Angular is the best framework or something. There are many great frameworks. React is great, Quick is great, Svelte is great, Solid is great. They are all pretty cool. But what I like about Angular, and many people don't like this, which is totally fine. I like that it has like some architecture out of the box, that it comes with some opinions, right? It's pretty opinionated and it's more than just a framework, it's like a whole platform. So in Angular, you have the router, you have a way of doing HTTP calls, you have a way of handling environments, you have all those concepts out of the box, right? And so I also like, especially when I work in bigger teams, that if I go to a new Angular project, right, I already know what's up. Like I can take a look, okay, I can see we have some core features, we have some lazy loaded feature modules, which is Dream Team, which is players. I instantly find my way on a new project. So that's pretty nice. And I also like these concepts here. And now if we go to the backend, so let's say we write our backend with NestJS like we do here. The cool thing is I go to the backend and it continues here. So I have like an app controller. Okay, here it's called controller, not component. Makes sense because it's a REST controller. But I still have my module. I still have imports. It's the same thing as in Angular. I have controllers instead of declarations, right? Makes sense. I have providers. I kind of easily can work with this. I have schematics out of the box. I have all these kind of things which make a great developer experience. So this feels like writing Angular almost. And that's why I kind of am playing around with NestJS to kind of find a stack that is pretty cool and where I can easily get started. Also, NestJS has like tons of integration. So I wanted to use Prisma. I have never done it before. And here's a step-by-step guide on how to use Prisma, right? Do you want to use, I don't know, something else like GraphQL? Do you want to have Swaggers? Do you want to have like whatever you want? There are so many receipts here. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. WebSockets, GraphQL, you have a whole section on how to do that. I think it's pretty cool. Also enabling cores, it was just like this one-liner. You have the CLI, so I like it. Modern TypeScript seems very similar to Java for me. Yeah, that's a good point. That's also one of the benefits why I think in React you can now also do like TypeScript, right? But especially in the beginning, I was working, or I'm a freelancer and I consult like different companies. And basically what was also interesting when I went to those companies is that many people came from the backend and they didn't want to do frontend. They were just like dropped into frontend, right? So they just, at one day they just needed like some developer who have to do frontend. And then those were many Java developers. And due to the nature of TypeScript, or because they had TypeScript, it was much easier for them to get started in frontend, right? Because you have classes, you have dependency injection and all these things you kind of know from Java. And previously, if you write it like a Node backend, you can also do it like with functions only, and I think that looks then completely different. Also, if you go like fully JS without TypeScript, that makes like a huge difference on developer experience. My company is still stuck on Prisma 1 and I'm trying. Bucky UK, is that... I don't remember. So, was it also you who wrote that they are on AngularJS? Ah no, I see. That was Fallen Learns. Okay. Because then you would have like two migrations, Angular 1 to 14 and Prisma, right? Okay. Good, so where were we? So we have the dream team, right? And that basically means that if we now go here to our frontend, navigation. Did we call it navigation? I don't remember what I called it. It's in the core. It's header. So here we would go like router link, dream team, right? Coming in, flex. I just wanna win, LABB who we running with, 2233, I'm on 10 again, state your name, been dope on flame. I just switched the lanes. Where are my players? They are not there because probably I killed the backend, right? Yeah, I killed the backend. But I'm still thinking like, so I have a pretty good feeling for what I want to choose in terms of like front end for my stack. I also am pretty convinced that I want to use NestJS as a backend. I mean, I'm speaking of like smaller projects, right? I don't know if I would recommend it for bigger projects, like huge company projects. I think there are probably better backend languages than just TypeScript. But I kind of like it. Maybe TRPC could be something that I would want to use, but I'm not yet sure what database. Like, there are so many options. Also, another option would be to go like serverless, right? Or just something like Firebase. There are so many options today. Okay, so we see that Dream Team works. And so basically what I want to do here is I want to have a football pitch actually. So basically in the Dream Team we will also use something, I think it's best to use new follower, welcome. So this raid got me quite some followers, right? That was pretty nice. So we do like 4 calls. So let's quickly think about this, because I want to build like a small football pitch, and usually, yeah, the system we would want to play is a 4-3-3. So basically, I want to build this in the front end, right? So I think this should be a grid. So let me take like another color. So it should be a grid, like 1, 2. This will go over 2 grids, right? So that we can place it in the middle. But basically the idea is that we have like a 4-column grid. And this one will then just go over 2. And down here, yeah, let's see. But yeah, we will have 4, 4, right? So calls for and 4 rows. And it would be nice to give it like some, is there some nice image on Unsplash? Some like football pitch? Something like this, right? That would be nice. Actually exactly this one, but only half of it. So what if I just... Now let me download that for free. Do I have to credit the author? I'm not sure, but shout out to Timothy10 for this cool image. I guess it's taken with a drone. Looks like an image that is taken with a drone. Oh my god, I have too many windows open. So let me just cut that out, so maybe something like this. Or should we even make it in full CSS? No, let's try it. So under the assets we probably put like this image. Whoa. Okay, drag and drop. Let's try it like this. Open in Finder, right. What are you guys, by the way, using like for work? Most of you probably, I guess. Or how many Angular devs are there? Or are you like all React devs? So I want to put this into the assets folder, right? So let's call this the pitch. And then we say, how can we do background images in Tailwind? I've never done this. So sometimes I feel like some stuff is easier in plain CSS. Background image. Is there like URL? Ah, okay, I have to, yeah. I've already done this. So let's go to the Tailwind config. So in the Tailwind config, we have to say under extend background image. So basically here, background image, right. And then we have pitch. And we will use a URL. It goes like assets, it's not images GitHub Copilot, it's pitch.png. So I think here we can do, is it just pg pitch? Probably also whenever you do this, you have to restart your frontend, right? So that Tailwind config is not watched. So this will not picked up. And we should probably give it like a yeah. So we see that we have the background image, right? But probably we should have it like VG cover, right? So something like this. And now here on top we want to display our grid. So that's the grid, and then we have like one. So that would be the goalkeeper, right? Oh, now how do we do this in Tailwind? So basically we want to have a grid call column start. How is it called? Start. Yeah, so that will start on the second, right? And it will span to, let's also give it like a BG Blue 800. So yeah, exactly. So this will be our goalkeeper, right? And then inside here, we will display. I started Angular 1, Angular 2, then went full .NET Core backend, yeah. I'm now back on the front-end stuff using React, okay. I do miss Angular though, I used to be pretty good at that, yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, I see like many companies are now using React. I think it also depends on the country you're in, right? Here in Switzerland, it's mainly React and Angular, of course. So what we want to have here is but we can have justify self, right? Can we have it's not justify, it's like align middle. Okay, we stretch that one over 2, but then the content inside here we probably have to, yeah, that would be our card, right? Actually. So that would be then one of the cards under players dot component, so we call something like this. Yeah, anyway, let's quickly just do the card instead of just as a yellow one. Class BG yellow 200, and width we do like, I don't know, 48. So this would be our card actually. The yellow one is probably not the nicest. Let's go with, I don't know, red 800, right? So that would be our card. And then here we can say that we want to have like Isn't it line middle? Item center, right? So if we have this display, let me see. Align item center should actually work, right? Unless the parent probably is missing like a width. Not? Okay. What ID is that? That's WebStorm. So I'm not actually seeing why, because this is display flex, right? So this is a flex container inside a grid, and that should actually just not seeing why this isn't working. I thought I could combine this. Probably. I don't even need that, right? What if I go here like 48? And then I say it's probably aligned, not align middle, but it's like self. Where is it now? Okay, I still have to figure out how I can center this. Maybe somebody has an idea. Because I thought that I have like alright. Let's bring that down to 60. So this is basically a container, and I want to say that this would be a flex container. So I say flex, right? And align item center. So it's and this still doesn't center it. And I'm actually not sure why. So can I combine grid and flexbox? I should be able to combine those, right? Oh no. Yeah. Okay. I soon have to leave, but I would really want to figure this out before I go. But I have actually a friend coming over soon. Align cell. Yeah, we don't need that. So the self-center. We don't need that. Yeah, so something I'm doing wrong, right? But yeah, I will try to figure that out. And then let's see. So yeah, so probably, I don't know when I have, maybe tomorrow or on Friday, I for sure want to continue here. So the idea would be to finalize that layout here so that we can put players on this dream team. And then also that you can basically add here like players. So you say add to the dream team, this will make a post, will update the database entry and make it to the dream team, right? And probably we also have to do like some creation of dream teams so that you can have multiple. Let's see. So the idea is just to play around a bit with the front end, with the back end. Maybe we'll also use some Angular query in here. But yeah, the idea is to just work like full stack on some small real world application and learn like how we can achieve stuff with Nest, how we can achieve stuff with Angular query and Prisma, right? So that's the whole idea. So yeah, yeah, thanks everybody a lot for joining. Let's also see if there is somebody online, somebody that's doing like cool stuff. Let's see, is there somebody doing Angular or something? Yeah, that's me. Or like generally. Trash puppy. Yeah, okay, that's Spanish. It's probably not. So let's go maybe to... I would want to rate actually Brandon Roberts. He rated me last time, but he's unfortunately not online. But for sure, like, if you have time, check out Brandon's stream or Yuri's stream. They are super cool. So let's go here. Let's see. Yeah. So thanks everybody for joining. I hope to see you soon again. And yeah. Let's see how far we can go. So yeah, thanks everybody for joining.
Why? I don't know. Thank you so much for the raid. Hi. Welcome to the chat. Can someone do / little